So, this is a part 2 of module 1 of the Family Constellation virtual training. I would like to check in with you guys, and here comes Kate. If there's any questions about yesterday, what we talked about that is kind of pressing. Hi, Kate. I was just asking if there's any questions regarding what we talked about yesterday.
Will you go over quickly through destiny? What were the main things around destiny?
The main things, meaning when destiny plays a role?
Yes.
In a family system? Okay,
yeah.
Good. Yes, destiny plays a role in a family system when we are looking at partner or former partner of a family system, because they are coming from another family system. They are not blood related, and they are not following the perpetrator victim or the advantage disadvantage giver dynamics, right? So theoretically, they wouldn't be part of a family system. But through destiny, which can be either a destiny that just brings them temporary in to the system and out after the deed has been done, or through destiny bound by lifetimes, they are coming in the family system, maybe as a karmic, maybe it is a debt they pay, which is also karmic, if you will, and they come in to do the job that no member of the family system is actually at that time able to do, but the family soul think it's time that you know, this issue, whatever this is going to be solved, and the family wound is going to be healed. So when no family member is able to do that through entanglement with one of the family system members, then somebody from another family system comes in by destiny or through destiny and becomes this family member who is then part of the system and is entangled with one of the family system, and hopefully part of the solution.
Thank you.
Okay, now we move on. I'm going to share the screen, and I hope you're going to see it. I decided I share all the slides with you now, so you know what's coming. And if it not come when I talk about it, then please let me know, okay? Because it worked always when I tested, it works fine, you know. So I have no idea what. Okay, so let's do that. Hang on. Okay, what's going on now? Yep, should come. Okay, can you see that?
Who comes first?
Wonderful. Okay, so the part 2, or the second order of Bert Hellinger's orders of love, is who comes first. So the first order of love was what we did yesterday, who belongs to family system. So we need to know that. Now we need to know in which order they actually belong. And this is why we ask who comes first. And then we know how to place them. So when we are talking about who, and I will show you all the slides now, just so you know. So that's the first one. The second one is this. The order of birth, the order in adoptions we are talking about, the order in families, the order in patchwork families, and the order in organizations. Then the next one would be this slide, the order of birth, where we're talking about mother, father, children, siblings, missing children, grandparents, and ancestors. Then we are talking about the order in adoptions, which we have to look at the adopted child, the birth parents, the adopting parents, and the own children of the adopting parents. We are looking at the order in families. We are looking at men, women, previous partners, children, grandchildren, and patchwork families. And last but not least, we are looking in the order of organization. We are looking at the when we are asking who comes first in an organization, we have to look at the function, the time spent, the education, and the responsibility. And you might know or you might not know, family constellation works fantastic in coaching for organizations. I did that quite a lot in Germany. I had CEOs coming, owners of businesses, but also employers or employees asking for advice. And a family constellation is absolutely wonderful to get things moving and get out of stuck pattern there. Okay, so these are the slides for today. I'm going back. So you saw them all, right? Did you? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So just checking in. All right. So going to the next one. And also today, we had a big day yesterday with lots of information. I know it was quite a lot to take in, and I'm not going to continue in this pace. I swear, I guarantee you. It will be more hands-on from now on. So when we are going through who comes first tonight, then we will also look at it on the board and maybe do some exercise. Okay. So who comes first? There's this wonderful German word Ursprungsordnung, which Bert Hellinger is using, and it would be translated as the order of birth. It's not quite only the order of birth, it's where's the source, like it's more leading towards the source. But again, we have to translate it somehow, so we call it the order of birth. When we are looking at the order of birth, it is, hang on, the order of birth, yeah. It is quite straightforward. We are looking who has been born first. And whoever has been born first comes first. And that has a lot to do with how the order in families is unbalanced and where suffering comes from then in the end. So this is super important to understand. Who comes first and has a special kind of treatment in the family, right? And if it's not treated in the right order, then it becomes unbalanced and there is suffering going on somewhere down the line, especially when it is completely how can I say, unwatched. Like if the remember when I talk about the conscience, if the common conscience of the family system kind of is okay with this wrong order, right? So everybody feels good about it, but it's super not okay, and somebody will suffer in the family about it. That's important to think about that when we talk about that, because some of the concept, well, it's not a concept, like the findings of Bert Hellinger, what is the right order, meaning who comes first, is quite challenging. It's not what we've been taught all the time. So it will also challenge our personal or collective conscience. And we maybe not agree with it or not feel good about it. We have to get over it. Because if we want to do the work as Bert Hellinger does it so successfully, we definitely have to obey the orders of love, right? If we wouldn't do it, like, why would we even start, with the work? So we have to question our own beliefs in this work, for sure. Okay, so generally is who comes first is always who was born first. So in a family, that's pretty easy. If you look at the children, the firstborn comes first, then the second, then the third, then the fourth, and so on. And they both have, not both, they all have specific roles to play in a family on a soul level. And if they are not in the right order, or if they are asked by the family to play a different role, then it becomes a suffering somewhere down the line in the family system. However, having said that, there's always a reason why in this family the order is not intact, and that could actually lead to a repeated family pattern that has its source in the ancestors. So we always have to look deeper into an issue when we do a family constellation. Then we have mother and father, Well, when we are looking in a family, we do not say, okay, the father has been born before the mother, so he comes first. This is more going where the function lies. So Bert Hellinger says, who is securing the family comes first. Security comes first for family. In his lifetime, it was the man, obviously, so he always says the man comes first. I don't think we can subscribe to that um, generally like this. Times have changed, and it could be very well the woman who is securing the family, and definitely in this case, she would come first. So we have to a little bit, go with the time and see what is right, and not follow blindly what has been said 30 years ago. But we are not twisting or turning that. He says whoever's securing the family comes first in the family. So I want to talk about the order of birth is very common in family constellation, that we have to work with it. And we are now talking about how we fit the children all in this order. So, for example, often, to a family system belong the unborn children as much as the children that died after birth. But often they are not counted in the family, and sometimes they're not even mentioned. And the ones of you who have done the family constellation workshop, you know that very well, that does happen. Anybody remembers a constellation where this is? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is a very strong dynamic which will always come up. And here we just really go very precisely, very precisely. So the firstborn is not the one who is considered the oldest in the family. It is the one who literally was conceived first. So if it was an abortion or a miscarriage, it's still the firstborn, although the word born is kind of not misleading here. But it is the first in the family. Or when the child was born and, I don't know, died at the age of 2 years, and then the next child was born, considered being the first because it's the first one in the row of siblings, but in fact it's the second born. In a family constellation, when you ask your client how many siblings do you have, and he or she says let's say 2, and you put up 2 representatives for the siblings plus her and the parents, and then you ask the sibling, how do you feel? Then often you will hear something is not good, something is missing, or something feels cold on the one side, or that is a hint that there is a sibling missing, which hasn't been considered to be part of the family system. Then you would choose another representative and put him there and test. Or you ask the client, do you know of any dead children or aborted or miscarried children? And he would reply to that, and then you would choose another representative and see how that leads you. Often the parents themselves, or sometimes the parents themselves, don't even know about this child. Sometimes a miscarriage is not even recognized. So here the family constellation can really give us a tool to look at things that are absolutely in the unknown. It's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Let me just, I actually took my glasses off because I saw in the video that it's reflecting my ring light all the time and it looks quite spooky. But sorry, I have to use it. Sometimes when I look at my notes and I don't want to miss out on anything that I'm talking about today. So let me just see. Okay. So that was the siblings. We will look at siblings. I want to work with the board tonight, and we will place who comes first, the orders in the families on the board, and then you can see it. Or we even make a constellation with one of you. Let's see how how it leads us, the field. Talking about the father. So as I said, Bert Hellinger was growing up in a time when the father was the one who's earning money and who had, who had to secure the family, who was a strong one. And so he says the father came first. Regardless if he was older or younger than the mother. As I said, I would not follow this strictly because the mother can definitely have the same role nowadays, especially. So anyhow, we're following Bert Hellinger's order of this law, so we're talking about the father first. There is a saying of Bert Hellinger, and I think that is important that you should take note of that in your notebook. It says, addictions have father's face.
What did you say?
Can you say it again?
Can you not hear me clearly?
It just
Can you
wasn't clear what you said.
Can you repeat it, please?
Of course. I was just wondering, is my audio not good?
Your audio is fine. It just was a little too fast.
Okay.
So we didn't
the saying is addictions have a father's face. Yeah. So that is a saying. When we are looking at the father in a family constellation, and we will in part 3, which is tomorrow, do some exercises with the mother and the father. We don't do it tonight, we have no time for that, but we will do it tomorrow. If somebody is addicted, smoking, drugs, pills, alcohol often, what else addiction, or anything, sex addiction, anything that is an addiction, food addiction, although food addiction is a little bit different.
Shopping.
Shopping, maybe. I had never seen that before, but yeah.
I had a boyfriend who was had an addiction for sure. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So I have not seen that in the family constellation, but interesting, yeah. So every kind of addiction is a hint that the relationship from one of the children to the father is not in the right order. And the child will be the addicted one. So this is some really valuable piece of information that hints you at a dynamic in a family constellation, but don't take it as granted. As always, you have to go with the field and what comes up, not with your knowledge. Your knowledge is in the background here, in the back head, somewhere here under the dreads, yeah? And it's there, obviously. But when you are connected in a family constellation, remember, you become nobody. And you're just really channeling the field, the information from the field. And it can give you different information. So don't just, rule everything else off. But it's a really good start if somebody's talking about their addiction, especially men, not necessarily women, but especially men, there is the father-son relationship that needs to be looked at. And again, as always, in family constellation, it won't be the first one. It's very likely that other father-son relationships in this family system have the same disorder, right? So always think about that. Always think the bigger picture.
Can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
My husband was an alcoholic. He's the second to youngest. And when his father died, his addiction has ended.
Ah, interesting, eh?
So I'm just wondering if that's to be expected, or he doesn't drink now. All of a sudden, he doesn't need to drink at all.
That's wonderful. So no, you can't say that's normal, and without looking at it, this is just an information. We are not doing a constellation, so we don't see what the field is sharing for information in this regards. So we are guessing. But I would say yes. In this case, it would be very likely that the distortion between the father-son relationship has ended with the death. Maybe because it wasn't entangled in former generations. Maybe it was just starting there and ended there. But that's a guess because You know,
Mhm,
we are not
mhm.
looking at it. But if you, what was this, the father of your partner?
I was just thinking he no longer has to take care of him. He's not, so
Hmm.
it's not out of order maybe anymore or
Hmm.
something like that.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
didn't get your question, what you said.
No, I was just thinking. So remember, when we do family constellation work, we are not guessing, right? We are not guessing. That is really something that we have to step out and discipline ourselves, that we are not guessing what might have happened. We only and solely looking at the field and the information that it gives us. This is why I said, without doing a constellation in the situation, we really don't know. We can only guess. Yeah. And please be really, really mindful with that. It's not no room for guessing in family constellation. And also, how can I put it? It's a very practical work, right? It's not very theoretical. So the information I give you is all derived from Bert Hellinger's work. He wasn't sitting there and, he was just doing constellation, and then finding regularities, so to speak. And this is the beauty of this work. Why I love it so much, and I'm sure you too, because it's completely coming from real life. Yeah. Okay, so yes, so it could be, it could not be, we don't know, but yes, dynamics between son and father are strong. When there is something not in order, you can see an addiction in the child. That's very, very common. There are different dynamics between father and son and father and daughter. That's also something that needs to be aware of. We know that from real life, right? If you have a son and a daughter and a husband, or you are a father, then you know that relationships between father-son and father-daughter are different. And that has a good reason, because they have different functions. So that's all good. We don't want them to make them equal. There's nothing to make equal because they are different. Right. So when we are looking at a father in a family constellation, every child is looking at the father with expectations. And that is something that is normally not in order. It is not in order for the child to have expectations against the parents, in this case, the father. Why? Because the child came later, right? The child was born later. So the father comes first and then comes the child. So whatever the father does, and don't let your mind get astray and think of abuse also. It's just what the father does as a father, the way he is presenting himself as father, the way he thinks being a father is the right thing, is to be accepted by the child, if it would be in order. But if the child has expectations against the father, that that the father didn't fulfill, then we have an imbalance. We have the orders not obeyed. Yeah. And the same is for the mother. Absolutely the same. In a family constellation, you see often, and this is, but we talk about that way later in the next modules, in the practical work of the family constellation, but you can see it clearly how we are conditioned to expect something from our parents. Right? This is just, and what was not 100 years ago. You don't see that in the former generation. It might goes back 2 or 3 generations max. Before that, there was kind of the order of love in regards between family members more or less intact, because children were not expecting anything else from the parents as what they got. There was just no room for it. It was socially or morally not common to expect more from the parents than what you get. which was in this case more in order and caused less suffering than if now kind of we think the children can expect something particular from their parents. Grandparents came before the parents, obviously, so also they come first. So when you constellate and you put up this children, you put all the siblings in the right order, the parents are there, and then the grandparents come. What is the right place for the grandparents then? What do we say?
Before their own child. But what about the other parent?
So the grandparents are parents to the parents, obviously. So the grandparents, if you look in a circle, and we might put that on the board now, if you put the whole generation in a circle, then you start right with who came first. That would be probably the grandfather, because he was securing probably the family, and the grandmother, then all the siblings, and then from the person who is then the father or mother of the family system we are looking on onwards, their partner, and then the children in the right order, right? So we're always starting right, clockwise. So I will actually, and I hope this works, I will actually now swap to my board and the figurine, and let's just cross fingers that this all works. Tell me if you can see something. Can
Yes.
you say? Yes!
Yeah.
Wonderful. So you see the figurines.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, here we go. So what do you see? Father, mother, child. That's our little family system. But the child doesn't want to play. Okay, here we go. So when I say we are starting right, then I mean the father is right from the mother. Yeah? So you're looking from as if you would stand there. Yeah, that's the right order. The father is left, then is the mother is left right to the right of the mother, and then the children are coming here where the mother is, right? Like this. In the order of their birth or existence, let's put it that way. So that's the right order. When you have the grandparents, let's take these as grandparents, then they would be also right of the father, even if it's the grandparents of the mother, right? So that would be the father, and then the grandfather, and then the grandmother, father, mother, and then the children in the order of their existence. So that's the order. So if you want to put a family system like this, you can make a half round or a round. Half round is always lovely because they can see each other like this. But you can also place them like a family tree. So you could place grandfather and grandmother behind father and mother. And then the children in front facing the parents. Right? So that's another way to place the representatives in the right order. Or you can also turn around and let the children face forward, especially if they are older. When they are younger, let's assume this is the youngest here, the little one. You might find the right place is closer to the mother. So the older ones, they are standing maybe even in front of their parents. So that's another way to put up the representatives in the right order in a family. So obviously we are not always staying children and we have to leave the house and the conscience we were talked about yesterday, maybe even the collective conscience, and move forward, yeah, and create a new family. So in this case, there is a letting go process. And we are talking about the letting go process in module 2, I think. Yeah, in module 2. So that is something that you are facilitating as a family constellation facilitator to support the energy to flow, right? Because we are not stuck in our family system like this, although the order is always the same. So we are not messing with the order. We are just supporting, letting go. That's another. That's another goal in a family constellation. So let's see if you ask the representatives, place themselves in our little family constellation here in the room, and they would like play something like that. I don't know, anything like that, right? Maybe this here. Okay, so it's all a little scrambled up. Does it say anything?
Perhaps disconnection.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Disconnection, yes. Disconnection. Not many family members are connecting at all to each other. That's correct. Yeah. And also, if you think about it, so here the mother and father, they are apart, and there's one of the ancestors in between, right? So without, we just want to talk about the who comes first in the order of love. We don't want to actually do family constellation at this point, but I just want to hint at it. We are not just going in now and placing them back, right? Like this, okay? And say, look, this is the right order, let's do it. Okay? Because it wouldn't heal anything. Yeah? But in our inner, because we are learning in our inner vision, in the back of our head, there we know it has to look like this if it would be healed, right? So we are not invading this family system with our assumptions, but we know what is the right order. Yeah, that's important. So I'm not telling you to put the representatives in this order and then everything will be good. We have to make sure they find their own way. But we need to know what the right order is, so we know when the right order is achieved, that we can call it, a finish of the family constellation. Okay? Right. So, what am I doing now? I think I go back and see, does this all work now?
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, big improvement. Okay. So, okay. We talk about the father. So the father's love and the mother's love, they are distinct, different. And you see that in family constellations. And we will talk about that tomorrow, because we do our exercise with our own fathers and mothers to experience this firsthand. And so we're not talking about too much of theory. And then we see also from your perspective as a child, what's the children's love towards your father and mother. And we will also look at common problems in father-child relationships. As I already said, addiction is a hint that there is a problem in the relationship, mostly in the acceptance of the child. Addiction is not taking the father's love. It's not that the father doesn't have enough love, or it might look like it in social structures that the father is neglected. So, but on the soul level, it's not the case. The father is the father. He's the father's love. But the way the child has expectations is hindering to receive the father's love as it is, right? So that's what you commonly see in a constellation when there is the father-son or father-daughter relationship not in order. The mother. So now the mother. There's another thing from Bert Hellinger that I want you to take note with. He says success has mother's place. So whenever the client is saying something like, "Oh, I'm not really successful in my job. I'm ticking along. I'm not like what I touch is not becoming gold, really." Things like that. We 99% have to put the mother in the constellation and look at the mother relationship. Because if the child wasn't able to receive mother's love as it is, without the expectation of the child what it's supposed to be, then the child will not be successful. And that is very powerful. That happens all the time. And practically, and you know that from your own experience, practically the first constellations you ever do, or one of the first ones you do, will be with your mother. Much more common than with the father, right? You remember? Alice nodding. Kate. Yeah. So although, as I said, Bert Hellinger considered the father to be first, I think in modern times, and just what real life shows us, is the mother comes up more often, the mother relationship more often in the constellation. And it's very important to look at the mother and clear the path, especially if you want to do the work. Obviously, the mother and father relationship has to be completely in order, for you to be successful and gain strength and be able also to carry on the work without having blind spots. So this is why we will do the exercise. We will take time tomorrow to go through the exercises with the father and the mother. Yes, Ali.
Ale, estás con el... You need to unmute yourself, Ale.
Yeah. I want to know if there is some explanation why the mother is always on left side and why the father is right side. I don't know exactly which is the meaning. I know what is, but
yeah. So the one who is coming first, meaning who is securing the family, is on the right side, which is in Bert Hellinger's system is the father, right? The father is securing the family, and this is who comes first, and whoever comes first is right to the next one. Yeah.
So can I ask, if you had, let's say you had a solo mother and maybe you don't even know your father, would the mother come first in that case? Or would it be with the father?
You have to put both in the family constellation, represented both, and see what is right.
So the person doing the constellation will, or the morphic field will show you which one comes first? Okay.
Yeah. So absolutely. So this is why I say we need to learn all of this, obviously. But then when it comes to real life constellation, you need to be able to let go of your conceptions and be guided, but not being confused. Have you ever heard of, what was this again? There was a word, freedom constellations or something. Have you ever heard of that? that was kind of a little bubble movement that came up,
Yeah,
where
there's a lot of dodgy things. There is shamanic constellation, all sorts of
all
constellation.
sorts of things, yeah.
Mm.
So what actually in this case is actually that you just, you know, let the representatives do what they want. So let's say you have this workshop setting and they sit around, or virtually they are all there. Then you would not ask somebody to be representative. You would just ask, okay, everybody jump in. You know, whoever feels drawn to do something, and then, you know, you let them kind of freedom, whatever to do, whatever they feel right what to do, you know. So it probably work. I don't want to say it doesn't work, but I don't know quite why you would want to do that, you know. What is the benefit for the client? Because a certain structure, you know, will, how can I say, I don't think that the structure finds itself when there is not somebody who is having an intention, you know, for something. Like there must be a strong intention, you know, for healing, for doing this, for doing that.
In
Yes,
Brazil.
Daniel?
Yeah, sorry about it, to interrupt you. I have seen
Yeah.
horrible things in Brazil, wonderful things and horrible things as well, related to
What?
family constellations.
Ah, yeah, okay. What
People playing
was a
up.
horrible thing?
The horrible things is people playing up, not connected, and coming to the field and doing what they want, telling what they want, you know, like really, and like you could see that they were really kind of, they were in a play, in a whole play or something, like really not connected with themselves, or talking too much, or telling what the facilitator should do, like very bad. And I see a lot of manipulation as well. Like I went into one meeting close to my place and I saw the facilitator manipulating a lot the field, not trying, you know, like not trying things, but you know, really manipulating, asking people to change places, and we change, and you know, really you know, trying to put his own idea into the field, you know.
Yeah.
Not trusting what was coming
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, so that's probably good. It's probably good to talk here briefly about it, that there is so many, I don't know even to call it branches of family constellation, so many ways to do it or not to do it. So if we stick close to the orders of love, we are safe, you know, we are safe. The only thing we need to add is to be able to empty ourselves and not bringing our expectation as a facilitator into the constellation. Yeah, but we still know about the orders of love, and later on we will learn about all the dynamics that are possible, and to hint and what to say and when to say it and where to say it, and that's all coming. We still need to know all of that, because this is our toolkit. It's like a plumber, you know, who has how do you call that in English, like this box with all these tools in, yeah, and he has all this, he knows everything about plumbing, you know, and then he comes in the house, you know, and then he sees what is needed, and then he only uses that, obviously. But if you wouldn't be a plumber and you have the same toolbox, you come into the house, what are you going to do? You're going to mess it up, right? So it's really important that you are having the tools and you have the toolbox, but in a constellation, you only use what is absolutely needed. No, you're not throwing your whole toolbox out and, you know, fiddling around with everything and throwing everything around in the room. Because it wouldn't fix the problem at all, right? I don't know whether that's too drastic, this picture, but that is kind of like just a picture. How carefully you are when you are facilitating, but how organized you are at the same time. So that's the art of constellating, if you will. Okay, coming back to our slides. So we talked about mother's love. So success has mother's face. So whenever something is, whenever a client or yourself, you're struggling with success, it has to do with a mother. Although you might have looked at your mother 100 times in a constellation or in other ways, there will be still something. The mother's bond is so strong to the child, you know, in good and in bad, so to speak, you know, that you can spend a lifetime to look at it and solve it, really. So don't rush forward. You said, oh, I have constellated my mother, now I move on. And then, you know, the kind of, you're still stuck in the situations you found yourself in before. Okay. So that is the mother's love. Then we have, we talked about the children being the siblings, and the right place for the children in regards to parents is obviously after the parents. So the parents come first, then the children, and the children in a particular order. Grandparents, we talked about this. Ancestors, when you remember the family tree we draw yesterday, the ancestors, they normally don't have a face as such, right? If you know what I mean. So the ancestors are part of the family system, and they come first, obviously. But often in a constellation, only one ancestor plays a role, not like the ancestors. So you don't need to find the order there. You don't need to know who was born first and so on. Normally, that's not normally needed. And when you do the meditation for yourself or for your clients, similar to the meditation that you get as a gift or something, something alike, the one who's coming forward from a group of people will be most likely the ancestor who wants to work with you. And often you don't need to know which generation it is. You know, he came first anyhow because he's the ancestor. So he has the right place. So how do we actually work in a family constellation with the one who comes first? We are not giving them anything, we are receiving, first of all. And secondly, we are thanking if we want to. Or we turn around and give what we have received to the next generation. That's how the love flows. So the river doesn't flow back to the source, right? We know that. That's not how it works. So whoever comes first gives, and the next one who came later receives. And when we work with an ancestor, and the ancestor is giving, obviously, what? Blessings, right? So that's what an ancestor gives, it's blessing. So in order to honor the ancestor and his rank as being the first one, we ask the ancestor for blessings. And that is very beautiful and very powerful in a family constellation. We are going back and talk about the children and siblings a little bit more, because there are lots of issues with it and lots of things we can look at in family constellations. Now, for example, if we say who comes first, then we don't mean only to know who comes first in order to place him to the right side, but also that he has a specific destiny, if you will, a faith or a faith. And if this is not fulfilled, then something is not in order. And I will give you an example for that. The firstborn, let's say there is an elderly daughter, for sake, yeah, that is the oldest daughter. There was not an unborn before. And then there's two younger siblings. And the eldest is, for example, the one who takes over responsibility, right? That's in order. So if everything happens to the parents, for example, and the situation will I have a noise in my ear. Do you hear a background noise? I have something in my. It must be me. Okay. So if the eldest sibling says, "Oh, you know what? I don't want to have anything to do. I'm going to Canada. I'm just going away. I want to live my own life." Yeah, and leaves. And then the next one stays and looks after the parents because they have nothing else, nobody else, and no other solution. Then the older one will suffer because it was the role of the older one to do that, right? That doesn't say that they cannot live their own life. That just say that they need to have an agreement with the younger one and an exchange. And we will talk about that tomorrow when we are talking about balancing and receiving. Yeah. What that can be, the exchange and everything. But you cannot just leave and say, I don't care. Yeah. And leave it to others, then you will suffer. Somebody will suffer, or your children or your grandchildren. You know, you're kind of creating a family soul wound with this behavior. Yes, Kay.
So that was the case with me in my family constellation. It was my youngest sister. So there are two other siblings in between. And we have resolved that, I think. She and I have really come a long way. But what about the two in between? So if we hadn't resolved it, is it likely to affect them? Because it didn't go to my brother, it went all the way to the fourth child took responsibility.
So interestingly, you are not passing it through the responsibility or the order. So it's the oldest, and if there is a row of more siblings than two, and you not only have the oldest and the youngest, while the oldest normally takes over responsibility and gets rewarded for it. In older times, there was the only one who was inheriting like the business, the land, the farm, whatever, was the oldest, which was okay because that was the order, right? Because the youngest was free, wasn't bound. The youngest could do whatever they wanted, and it was in order. So that was to say, the family system said to the young ones, you go and create something new, and the oldest is the one who is continuing with our, collective conscience thing, right? So that was the order, and that still is. If there are others in between, they don't have a specific role.
Okay.
Yeah. So when the older one buggers off, that doesn't mean that the second one is now automatically, it would not be in order. You cannot replace that. Obviously, if the first one wasn't born or died before, they would never be in the situation to take over the role. The only thing we need to do with them is to see them and to make them part of the family, right? So when you're so let's go back to our board. I would like to show you that, how that would look. Hang on, here we go. So when we go back here to our board, and let's say, let's take the family out there. Let's say here is the row of siblings. We just take another figure to make them more. So that's the oldest, the middle, and the youngest, right? And then, and here, let's say here are the parents. And then in the family constellation, you find out that there, before the eldest, is a missing child. And let's say it's often the white color because they are dead, like here, right? Then it would look like this in a constellation. Now that doesn't mean that this child that doesn't exist would be the first one and therefore would have to care after the parents, obviously. That's not going to work. But what happens is now, you're acknowledging this is the first one. Everybody in the family is acknowledging that. You are thanking the first one to make space, right? So you become the first one. So you're balancing that out. And then you said, I am second born, but I am the first one who is, responsible for. So that would be the way you are solving these imbalances there. Okay, and then often this actually, lies down or something. That happens very often. Closed eyes or something like that. Okay, right. Back to our. I'm glad that the sharing's working. Screen sharing. Okay. So, children, grandparents. I want to talk about grandparents again because there's something that has been shown in the Orders of Love, in the family constellations, that is a quite strong dynamic, which is that the entanglement is often skipping one generation. So write that down. That is very, very common. I would say 99%. So a child is not very commonly entangled with a parent, but it's very commonly entangled with a grandparent. Or an entanglement if the father or the mother is not with their father, mother, say the grandparents, but with the great grandparents. So very often an entanglement is skipping one generation. So when you're looking for the entangled person, you can always skip one generation first. And you will very likely be faster to find it. Okay. Okay. We talked about ancestors. Okay. Let's talk about adoptions.
Maya, were there other roles for the other siblings? Like you said, the youngest is free. Are there any roles for the other?
No.
Is it just oldest, youngest?
So if the order is ob-eyed, the first one is caring, let's put it that way, for family issues. So if there's an issue, the health of the parents or the business or whatever, then that's the order to do it. Then the next one is free of this. There is no specific role for him. The youngest is always, allowed to leave this family system and do whatever they want. Now, what may happen is, and that happened often, is that the second born, for example, is stepping in the role of the first one, although the first one doesn't leave. Just because out of a good personal conscience, for some reason, feels good to do that, although it's not in order. And everybody lets them do that, because it feels right, but there would be suffering somewhere down the line in the family system because the order hasn't been obeyed. So then the order here is to say, the first one is to say, I am responsible. You are not responsible. It's not your place, but I don't want to do it. So I thank you that you take over this role and relieve me. And I give you something for that. But we will talk about that in balancing, what we can do.
Yeah, sorry, it's very common in Brazil, for example, the youngest want to look after the parents, Very, very common.
Yeah. So that must be then the good conscience, a good common conscience, a family conscience, because it's common, telling, oh, it feels good if the youngest is doing that.
Yeah. I thought it was because it was the one who received more, because ended up, receiving less karma, or
never good. You never give back.
It is
remember the flow
yeah,
of the river.
Exactly.
It is actually, I know in South America, it has been a thing in the past, maybe not so much in actual generations, but there are even movies about it, how the youngest woman, the youngest daughter in the family, was meant to look after the old or elderly mother, for example.
Ah, yeah.
So that was a very common thing, in past generations. And talking with Rocio, she was telling me she felt that very heavily, for instance. So it's still currently happening in some families somehow.
Yeah. Of course it's happening because that's what the family does. Yeah, but it's not in the order of love. So somebody pays for it.
Yes.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which we have to look up then in a family constellation, not too theoretically now in the course, but in an actual real constellation, what that is. Everything can be healed. You know, everything is able to be balanced, whatever it is. But it needs to be seen first as a breach of the orders of love. You know,
I have a
that's
question.
important. Yes, please.
What about a person that has other children? Like my husband, he has 2 older children, and then he has 3 kids with me. How will that play in the order of my son being my oldest and him having older kids?
Very good question. So the 2 we talked about, this we call them the step siblings, right? So the 2 older children of your husband are not blood related with you, right? Or with your children. They
They're
have another
blood related with my children, but not with me.
children. Yeah, with
They're
your
my
children. So they are half. So they are half. They are your stepchildren, but they are half siblings of your children.
Yes.
So then they are part of the family system from the point of view of your children. So yes, the order is here. The oldest of them all is the first.
So that will be my order for me too?
Yes, that will be for your children, not for you. Not for you. It's if you just look at the lines of the children, then comes the oldest first, then the second, then the third, regardless who the mother is, because they have the same father.
I guess I'm trying to I'm referring this to business because my husband has a business, and I know that his oldest runs the business. His oldest, and I'm a ordained a minister, and I'm getting ready to open a ministry, a church. And I'm just wondering, like, will my oldest feel responsible to lead on my path, or will he feel responsible to lead on my husband's path?
So the oldest one of your husband is already taking care of the business.
She
So
is.
this is fantastic in the orders of love. So that would be in order. So there is nothing left to do for your oldest to do that. So your oldest, who is not the oldest, who's the third, is free to choose what she or he what he wants to do.
Got it. All right, thank you.
All right, cool. So talk about adoption. Now this is a big thing. Nowadays there's a lot more adoptions than ever has been, which has also to do that the fertility of the humanity seems to be decreasing. And lots of Westernly family who have the wish for a child can't fulfill it, and they are looking to adopt. There are lots of dynamics in adoption, and we might spend the rest of the first half of our session today and looking at adoption. So, where to start? Hang on. No, all right. We are starting with the oh, hang on, I forgot something. See, we're good at that. I made some notes. I want to come back, before we go to adoption, I go back to the patchwork family. Yeah, because we were talking about, just when Cindy said that, about that's what we call a patchwork family. Is that a correct term? Yeah? Okay, good. when we talk about patchwork families, we're not only talking about children, we're also talking about partners and ex-partners, right? And there's also an order. So when men and women come together, have a child, they are forming a new family system. When one is leaving this family system, having another partner, this partner was later, right? So in the orders of love, the new partner would come later. But because they are forming a new family system, especially when they have a child, they come first. That is kind of an exception to the order of birth, you know? So they are not later, they are first, because they are creating a new family system, and in this family system, they are first. Yeah? So that is a very important exemption or rule to the rule, or I don't know how to say that. Yeah? That although they come later, they will be treated as first. So for example, when that plays out, let's talk about like money and supporting the family. If the man has a new wife and the new wife has a child, then it is correct that, and the man has limited resources to feed the new wife and the new child first. So they get the support. And when something is left, then the child from the first marriage gets it as well. However, if there's only a new partner, not a child, this is not creating a new family system. So the support has to go to the child. If the man would say, you can't have support because I have to feed my new partner, that would be not in order. Right? So that is kind of the fine-tuning in patchwork families. And of course, they can be very patchy, and then you have to find your way in a family constellation through it. But that is, if you're just looking at the right order here, who comes first, then you will not be mistaken. You can clearly see when there is an imbalance and how to balance it out. Okay. Before we go to adoptions, just probably another question about families. Otherwise, let's go to adoption. So when we talk about adoption, we have the adopted child, the birth parents, the adopting parents, and the own children of the adopting parents that are playing a role in the family constellation. So the client can be either the adopted child and has a problem, or the birth parents, or the adopting parents, or sometimes it's a child who has a sibling who is an adopted child. So that can be on all levels, the imbalance. So we have to find the right order. And this is a surprise, and this is why Bert Hellinger's Orders of Love is challenging our mind and our morality sometimes. He says the children always belongs to their blood family. Always. And that is interesting because that's not how we perceive it, because if the child is adopted from quasi from birth, it doesn't even know the blood parents, has no relationship or nothing. In a family constellation, when this child is constellated, there will be only the blood parents. That's just the order. It's just the order of love. This is how it works in family constellations. Now you want, as a facilitator, put probably the adopting parents to it, because it could be very important, because there must be a balance. But if we are just talking about the orders in love, of love and who comes first, the adopted child has only two parents, mother and father, and that's the blood parents, even if they never met. Even if they gave it up, that doesn't matter. That's their parents. That's considered to be the parents. The adopting parents, who considering themselves the parents, coming later. They are coming after the blood parents. There's often an unbalance in these relationships because this is not seen. What Bert Hellinger says is that there is no right to adopt a child when it has its parents, even if the parents don't want the child. No. The adoption would be only in order if there are no other parents. Let's say they died in an accident, you know. So this is just a piece of information I want to give to you because that's in the orders of love. You can take it like face value or have your questions about it, which is fine. We all have that, but that's the order of love. He says the parents who want to look after children, they can provide care for a child, you know, that has parents. They don't need to adopt it. Because adopting means cutting it off from their family, giving him another name, putting him in a family system where it doesn't belong, and not talking about it even, and not acknowledging the parents at all. So when we talked about the belonging yesterday, and I said adopted children do not belong to the family system, this is quite a bit to swallow, but this is why, because they belong to their parent system. Normally, children are not bound by destiny into another family system, right? That's not exactly how it works. It's more the partnership, you know, where you come into a destiny relationship. The children who are adopted by another family still belong to the other. So we have to work with the child and their blood family when we have a constellation. And then comes in the adopting parents, and they have an order, but it's behind or later or after the blood parents, even if they cared for the child the whole life. And they know it and they feel it as well. They often feel a debt towards the birth parents, and they feel less than, you know, the real parents. And what Hellinger says, and which is really true, I have seen it as well, is that the parents often pay for the mistake if they adopted a child carelessly without really looking, you know, for the birth parents of this child and kind of, you know, balancing that out and saying, okay, we provide care, but we still respect you as the parents. They pay often with an own child, and that is very common. It's very common that parents can't have children adopt a child, and then she gets pregnant. You heard about that a lot. And this child who comes then next is normally entangled somehow with the family system and doesn't live a fulfilled life, you know, because it's kind of paying for the debt that the family has left behind by not obeying the orders of love when they adopted the child. Sometimes they, I haven't seen that, but Bert in his books writes about it. One of the children or one of the partners leaves or has suicide, or if they have children after they die. So it's a quite a strong impact when the order of love is not obeyed in adoption. So I have in my family, in my wider, broader family, I have another example where this also plays up. There was a relative of mine who had children, but then had a new relationship and a very late child. So the other children were already teenagers, and she got pregnant. You know, there was a gap of, I don't know, 15 years or something. So she knew when the child was kind of toddler that the children will all be out of the house, so there wouldn't be siblings. So she looked to adopt a child as companion for her child, right? So she found a child in Tahiti after this devastation there in Tahiti with this natural catastrophes. and brought the child home into her house and raised it. And the child, the adoptive child, was very difficult. It was screaming all the time. It was, you know, the ADHL and things. I have seen it. I don't know, I haven't seen it for years, but now when it was a baby, it was really hard, and the family was really on the edge all the time. And her daughter, which she bought her, you know, a sibling, if you will, she wasn't happy at all, right? At that time. And I hope that all is better now, but there was no work done. So I could clearly see the energy was going towards, like, was not in order, absolutely not in order. And I suspect, just by observation, that this child still had parents. You know, although they might be completely poor and didn't want to look and could look after it or whatnot, you know, or other relatives. But Helling would say, even if the parents would die in an accident and there's an auntie or an uncle or a grandparent who can look after the child, that's better than an adoption.
I have a good example as well, Maya.
Mm-hmm.
I had a client in Brazil last year, and she's a rich doctor, and she was afraid of die lonely, you know, and then she rented this beautiful black boy from, you know, a poor neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
And after she adopted this guy, her life became a hell. First, the guy was very revolted in the house. Uh, her financial, you know, her work, her you know, her clients all went away. They all disappeared after this child came to my life. She gave everything she could, best schools and everything. The child was still very revolted, and on that time we did a work maybe 6 months, and I say he is screaming for his heritage, and you're not respecting that. I did many movements of putting her in front of these parents. And making movements of saying, you know, in order for your loss, I took advantage of it, and many works of trying to make her see, but she was still thinking in her head, and she was better because she could provide to that kid, you know.
Yeah.
And the parents, they lost the right to be with that child because they were drug addicted, you know.
Yeah.
And this boy, he has other 2 brothers that she didn't even know where they were, but the law actually protect these kids of not knowing where they are, except. So it's a big entanglement. And in the end, she actually realized and she admitted that she wanted to give the kid back. When the certificate of her being the parent of that kid, she felt very sad about that. Her wish was actually to give back the children.
Yeah,
and I
that's
said,
the solution.
maybe this child is going to be better with the state rather than to be with you.
That's the solution. But if you're thinking of family constellation, we are working with the soul energy here, not necessarily with the physical bodies, right? So to give a child back to the children in family constellation does not necessarily mean that the parents actually physically giving the child back to their parents, right? It's a movement of the soul that is happening. Right? And if it's on a deep level, in very earnesty and connection with the family soul, and when the right balance and exchange has been provided, then it will be a relief for all members of this family system. You would see it. But sometimes, yes, sometimes definitely the child has to go back to the parents. Yeah.
Can you say something about foster parents?
Foster parent is awesome because you're never pretending that you are in the order as parents, right? So you are taking, obviously, the seat behind the true parents as a foster parent, right? So that's a very good solution, and Bet is talking about that in his books, that is the solution if there are parents and you want to you want to obey the orders of love, but you want to provide for a child that needs help, then you foster care it. That's it. That's the solution. You foster care it, and you never pretend to be the parents, and you never cut them out from their parents. Yeah, that's the solution. It's beautiful to foster. And it's really a service, because these kind of egoic tendencies that this is my child, yeah, are not there. It's a very humble thing to foster, you know. So yeah, it's beautiful, absolutely.
But I told her, if you really want to help this kid, you know, you should always keep the doors open for him to come back to his family. And if you really want to help his family as well, you know, get in touch with that auntie of him that actually was the one who actually was more able to see the things, and let that connection open, you know, so then he can have free access to his family, and you will see that he's going to stop to be rebellious, you know. That's what I told her. It did work a little bit, but it was a bit hard, because there was like, I'm better, you know, I can provide to this kid. I took this kid out of that poor place. He's better now.
That's always in the ego mind. That's the selfish part of adoption. Adopting is a very selfish thing to do. You know.
I have a question about what about sperm donation and you know, that type of thing. Do you have any idea?
I have no idea. It wasn't. I don't think it was. I don't know. I mean, it was.
I got a lesbian couple, and they got a sperm donator, and she paid the price of her health, actually.
Yeah.
She has like kind of, actually her girlfriend, she lost her uterus 1 year after she lost her uterus. She has to take care of everything. And her, as a mother, as a birth mother, her health was really bad. He had horrible diabetes after this kid was born, and they know who the father is, but they cut out absolutely 100% the father, because the father.
Here.
Yeah,
Stop here. Let us look at it. Let us look at it. That's a good exercise before we have a short break. Yeah, we put it on the board. Okay. So we are taking Daniel's experience, Daniel's client. Yeah. Shall we do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is kind of
might be a workshop in Christchurch here in August.
Ah, yeah, great.
That would be very exciting.
So this is very good. This is now what we're doing is supervision. So we are looking, like Daniel is the therapist, and we are looking at one of his cases, right?
Okay.
And that's what we do. So that's what we call supervision. And we can do that. We're allowed to do that on the board, yeah, to help Daniel with his client. Okay. So Daniel, just tell me how you want to place, which representatives you want to choose, and how to place them.
Yeah, maybe the pink one that you have. The pink one is her and her big desire of being a mother, you know.
Yeah.
And then maybe the yellow one could be her partner.
Okay.
You know, which been together in a stable relationship for 7 years, you know. And the yellow one is more masculine. She's more like a town boy, you know.
So where do you want them? How do they?
Side by side, maybe. Yeah, as a couple. Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, and then this man, where they came the agreement that could be maybe the blue one.
Blue. This one?
Yeah. He came as a sperm donor, you know.
Okay. Where do you want to place him?
Beside the pink one, maybe. Yeah. And then the child, that could be the little blue one, maybe.
Not this one, the blue one.
Yeah, because it's a boy, and apparently the boy really looks like his father.
Oh, that's the same.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it could be that one.
I'm looking for a smaller one. Maybe this one.
Yeah, and that could be right between the pink and the yellow, which is actually, not there at the moment. That would be the solution, but he's right there in the middle of the pink and the yellow. Yeah. Yeah. And the blue one is far, far away from the pink one. It's far, far away. He was removed from the family.
So
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What happened is that the pink one, which is the mother, she's very sick. She gained so much weight after the birth of this kid. She always says in complaints that it's very hard for her to mother and everything. It was her dream to be a mother, but in the reality, it wasn't like that. And the yellow one that is playing the role of the father, she actually lost her uterus a few months ago. She has to cut it out, everything.
Yep. Yep. Okay, let's look at that, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
So, who wants to represent the pink figure? Hands up.
I can represent.
Mariella? Okay. Mariella, you are pink. Kate, you want to be the yellow?
Okay.
Okay. Who wants to be the baby? Ale? Yeah, Ale? Unmute yourself. Okay. And who wants to represent the donor, the sperm donor? Aya, Daniel or Cindy?
Maybe Shakti, would you like to represent the
Nam
sperm donor?
Shakti?
Yeah, she's with
I
her.
hope she's.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to make noise, I'd rather not. But if you want me to, I
No,
would.
that's fine. No, that's fine. Totally understood. So, Daniel, would you do that? Okay. Right. All right, let's take some deep breaths. Nice. Very good. Then when you're ready, open your eyes. And feel inside. What do you feel? And I'm starting with the baby, Ali.
Yeah, I don't feel like I want to close, that I want to open my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel like I would like to be with closed eyes,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Anything
Feels
else?
like, yeah, feels like I don't want to be here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Let's stay with that. You don't want to be there or here. You don't want to be here. That's what you said. Going to the pink figure.
I feel an anxiety in my chest, like in my heart. It's not terrible, but it's unsettled. Like, yeah.
Like, how does that feel?
Like a pain.
Okay.
Like
Pain in the heart. Yeah.
pain of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sad. Painful.
Sadness.
Not terribly painful, but a pain, an ache of the heart.
And what did you say? You feel sad?
Yeah, sad.
Yeah. Sad. Okay. Mm-hmm. And Kate?
Yeah, the same as she's describing. I feel a pain in my heart. It's kind of in my throat too, and in my lips.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure it's sadness, but it's coming up. It's coming up from my heart, up my throat. It's moving up, and my lips are numb.
Mm-hmm. And the emotion is?
Yeah, I guess it is sadness, but it's I'm not admitting it, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not acknowledging the sadness, so
it's unspoken.
yeah, when I look at there, I see that's what it is, but it's not what I feel, like not in the front of my awareness.
Very good. Okay, very good. Okay, Daniel.
Yeah, I wanted to turn around pretty much, and the first person that I saw was Kate. And yes, what she was talking about kind of have resonant. I have sympathy for Kate. And yeah, it's almost like I don't want to look at this. I just don't want to have anything to do with that.
So you don't want to look at it?
No.
So where do you want to go?
I want to turn around, actually.
Like this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the situation we are seeing is the two who want to provide as a family are sad. The sadness, which can be guilt, most likely, is preventing them from nourishing the child, and the child feels like it's not belong there, it's not here even, right? It's not nourished and cared for at all. Yes, Ale.
Yeah, this is exactly what I am feeling, like I am not belonging them.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is the solution here? How do we can achieve the order, the right order? So first of all, what would be the right order?
To invite the father in, at least to try to communicate with the father.
So the father doesn't want to have to do with it. There is no movement towards, So if you look at the board, if there would be, I faced it that way, and then Daniel said, no, I don't want to have to do with it, right?
Yeah.
So communication is not possible, right? Because we cannot just turn him around and make him. Yeah. So that's not the solution. Any other guess or any other ideas? Yeah. Vale.
Does the child come to the father?
The baby?
Well, yeah.
Is that what you feel? Is there a movement? Do you want to do do you feel a movement? What do you feel?
Like I would like to be closer him.
But do you actually are capable of moving? So if I put this figure, will it move? I don't see a movement.
How old is Ale, or the child?
2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
When Ale said, like it really touched me to see him sad like that,
Yeah. So what is the solution? So obviously they are not a couple, but they are father and mother, right? They are. So she is taking over the role of the father, right? Yeah? That's the point. So the right order would here that she, who's yellow again?
Me.
Kate. What do you feel if I move you over here? How does that feel?
Well, it doesn't feel good. It's hurting, actually.
Right. What is if I just turn you around?
That's okay.
That's okay. Let's see how far you can go.
Yeah, that's starting to hurt now.
Okay, let's stay here. Stay here.
Look how she's looking down.
She does. She does. She's very sad. Very sad. She's actually looking at the dead. But we are not going to go there. That's a small little constellation. I mean, there's a lot more behind that, obviously, right? Well, we're not going because that's not our place. But what we are doing is, for the sake of the demonstration, if she cannot move to him, you know, she should stay there and say to him, thank you. Try that. Say
Thank
to
you.
Daniel, thank you.
Thank you. It feels much better already.
And Daniel, does this move something?
Yeah, I wanted to say her, thank you for looking after my son.
Yeah, exactly. So you say the same. I turn you around and you say the same to her. I thank you.
I thank you for looking after my son.
It feels much better.
I know you like him very much.
Say to her, I know he's in good hands with you.
I know he's in good hands with you.
Kate?
Yeah.
Yeah. The pink figure, has anything changed?
Yeah, I feel more, I suppose, excited in a positive way, like with hope.
Hope. Okay. Right. Then you say the same. Oh, say the same to him. Thank you
Thank you
for giving me your semen
for giving me your semen
and fulfilling my dream to have a child.
and for filling my dream to have a child.
Through this child, we are bound together
Through this child, we are bound together
by destiny.
by destiny.
I now see that.
I now see that.
And I will honor that.
And I will honor that.
How's that?
Good.
Yeah. And say to him as well, and I will let your son know as soon as he can understand.
And I will let our son know as soon as he can understand
That you are the father.
that you are the father.
And when he wants to go to you, I won't be in the way.
When he wants to go to you, I won't be on the way.
In the way, so in between.
In the way.
How's that for Ali?
Yeah, it was much better. At the beginning, when Kate was close to me, I didn't like. But when she said thank you, I start to feel better. But I feel more complete when the mom say thank you too.
Ah, very good.
Yeah.
So how is that? How's that for you, Ali? Better or not better?
Well, yeah, I feel like I want to meet him one day. Yeah.
Okay. All right, we leave it here. It's time for a break. A little bit over. So we talk about that when we come back. 10 minutes. It's 7:45 in New Zealand. Namtakti, I don't know how far. Are you still with us? We're making sure you're not falling asleep.
Yeah, here.
You're good. So we meet in 10 minutes. See you.
You
Well, there was a question. What about who asked the question? What about donors, sperm donors? Somebody asked. Kate. So we just jumped on the train to look at it in real time. And what have we learned from it? It's a father is a father, belongs to the family system, needs its rightful place, even if the father acts as if he doesn't want to be the father. The family system doesn't care. You know?
I have a sister who has two, her wife has two sperm donor test, what do you call it? Yes, sperm donor sons, two sons.
Yeah.
She has no idea who the parents are. There's no way to find out.
But what is the solution is here is to honor the father as a father, not as, I don't know,
A sperm.
a sperm. To honor this as a father and to give him the rightful place. You do not need to know him. You do not need to give your children to him. That is not the solution. The solution is to know of the orders of love. Go out of your comfort zone, out of your personal conscience, out of all this guilt or whatever you feel. Acknowledge what is to be acknowledged, the order of love. Giving what needs to be given or receive what needs to be receiving. And the children will grow up strong, full of life, and leading a joyful, good life. That's what they deserve. Yeah, because they don't know that they were donut. They have a father, you know.
They do know they were donored because they have two mothers.
Well, when they are older, they will probably figure that out. Yeah.
They're both adults now.
Well done. Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Daniel, for giving us the input. So now we have the answer to our question. And let me just go back to my screen sharing and our slideshow. Okay, here we go. I'm glad that it works so nicely now. So we talked about the order of adoptions, and actually the sperm donor is very close to adoptions, I feel, energetically. Feels really close to that. So the same kind of rules apply. We have talked about the orders and families, but I want to go a little bit closer and look at certain aspects which we briefly touched, but it's a really important aspect, and it's also showing us how deceived we are living in our personal conscience or in the collective conscience and not obeying the orders with a good conscience. This is when we're caring for elderly parents. So the question is, what is the right order here? I want to remind you of the orders of love. It is like a stream of love or stream of water. It only flows in one direction. And I can't repeat it often enough, you know, because the temptation to let the water flow uphill is always there because of our, you know, the upbringing, the conditioning. But the fact is that the love flows from the ones who were first to the ones who come after them, like a stream of water. It cannot flow the other way, right? So when the parents are giving to the children, the rightful place of the children is to receive the love and pass it on. And be grateful for the parents, obviously, for what they did and what they stand for, what they do. But the parents cannot expect from the children that they give them something. But they often do. They say, oh, whatever. But this is because of the conscience, not because of the order of love. And wise persons, wise grandparents, wise parents, they never expect anything from their children back, right? They don't. Only needy parents do that. So what is then the parent's situation? They are actually children. Why? Because they haven't accepted their parents' love. So they are stuck in the emotion of a child, of a needy child. And they cannot step in the role of their parents. Grow up, be a parent, give instead of receive. So when we are thinking, and this all plays up when we are thinking of elderly parents. So once the parents get elderly, Bert Hellinger is very clear in his orders of love. They are responsible for each other because they are bound together by destiny, partners, remember? They are bound together by destiny to care and look after each other. So the parents have to look after each other. And when they can't do that anymore, then they have to organize themselves to get whatever they need. And nowadays, it's quite easy if you kind of, have your outcome. You go to these elderly homes and this and that, right? But you have to organize that, But you cannot sit there and wait for your children to look after you. That is not in order. So, why are a lot of actually grown-up children drawn to the urge to care about their parents? It's why they have a good conscience, It's a personal conscience or the collective conscience that makes them feel good about it, or they feel guilt if they don't do it because of the morality of the conditioning. But what they actually are, they are actually stuck in this feeling of a 7-year-old because they are still conditioned, So how can a 7-year-old look after 77-year-olds? Yeah, that is always overwhelming, and they really, in fact, don't feel good about it. They always will feel overwhelmed because you cannot do that from the state of a 7-year-old looking after somebody who is adult. So, what is the solution and what is the order here? So often, as a child, you're bound to leave the personal or collective conscience and go your way, right? Create your new family system with your new rules and regulations, and continue and broaden and make a variety of human experience for the source, for God, for whoever you want to call that, the divine, right? This is our role. Our role is not to stuck as children in the conscience of the family system and repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat what they do. So because we are feeling bad about it, because the conscience giving us a bad feeling to leave it, that's the right way. You have to feel bad about it, but you have to do it anyhow, right? But you have to be mean to do it. You can do that in love for your parents, in respect. You can do that with great respect for your parents and great love, but you don't need to do what they want. You need to do what is right. So if there is a way that the elderly parents can look after themselves or with the help of institutions, then that's the right thing to do. And if you're in the position to support this with your money, that's the right thing to do. You can do that, of course. No, you can do that. But to give your family up and move into the house of your parent and look physically after an elderly parent while your own life is on hold, that is not the right order. right? And if it feels right for you to do that, then you have to work on your conditioning. That's a good sign that there is something to do for in your own life. So the water never, yep.
What about a parent, like my mom lives with me? Is that bad?
No, there's nothing good or bad
the
about
order?
it.
I know. Is that
So,
the order?
well, it is lovely to be in a multi-dimensional or multi-generational household if everybody is in the right order. So if your mom is respected as your mom and the grandchildren of your children, you know, and as such living in the house, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But if you feel you have to look after your mom as if she would be a child, then the order would be obscured. You can still do look after a parent as an adult with an adult attitude and with adult means. No? Like finding care for your mother, for example. If that would, I don't know how the situation of your mother is. Is she
She's
well?
young, like 55. But she's young, she's 55. She helps me with my kids. I pay
That's
her.
perfect.
Yeah, and
Perfect.
she likes being here,
Yeah.
so I like it. She helps me.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I'm not sure about, well, we can make an exercise and we can look at it. I'm not sure about the payment though. I'm sure that it's an order. It's totally in the order of love that she looks, you know,
Well, I
after
pay
the
her because
grandchildren.
she helps me clean my house.
Ah, okay.
So it's like, so she has money.
So it's
Otherwise,
not only about the children.
yeah, so
Yeah.
because she has money, otherwise she'll have to get a job, and so she's better off just staying with me, helping me, and then I give her cash.
Yeah.
But I do treat her like my mom. Like I treat her, she has that respect here. My husband respects her, and she has that place.
Yeah. That's beautiful. So that would be wonderful for your children to grow up in a three generational household. If everybody is in the right order there and respected as such, it's great. Yeah, makes it very strong energy field for everybody to a nourishing energy field for everybody to grow up. Yeah, yeah. So the order is the love, the support, the caring, the nourishment goes from one generation down to the next. So that's the right order. Just remember that, just write that down. Just if that is all you get from it today, that is a lot, because you will see this is obscured in so many cases, causing suffering. And especially the children try to, you know, swim upstream, so to speak. Not necessarily the parents are, you know, wanting from the children, but often the children want to, you know, care for their parents as if they would be parents. And there's just also some arrogance in it often, you know, that they are feeling they are more adult than their parents. You know what I mean? So that's also something to be very careful. If somebody, if a client is sitting there with you in a one-on-one session or in a family constellation and is very proud that, you know, that is organizing everything for the parents and everything, ruling the life of the parents, being a really good kid, that's an arrogance there. So you would see in a constellation they are feeling themselves bigger than the parents.
Yeah, I have a very good friend who's very entangled with her mother since the mother came to live with her here, to live with the family here in New Zealand for a while. And yeah, it just didn't go well. And they were very close and they do love each other very much. But yeah, everything you are saying here did happen, kind of thing. And the mother ended up leaving back to, you know, her country. And the relationship is very damaged now, significantly damaged. For me, it was really hard to see because I love them both very much, and I could understand and see what they were going through, but you know, I felt kind of helpless. Like they would come. There was a point the mother was only talking to me. You know, part of it is her English is not great. Anyway, she self-isolated herself. There were a whole lot of things happening.
So Mariella, that's a really good point. I would like to talk, because this is coming up in my slides anyhow, the order of helping. So when we're talking about who comes first and where's the right place and the right order for people of the family system, we have not talked yet about one significant other, which is the helper. And the moment you are helping somebody with their issues, you are becoming a part of the family system temporarily, right? So in our family tree, you are actually having a seat there temporarily. The question is where, now you know, where is the right seat? Where would you place yourself? I can actually bring it up. I have it on my, let me just do that. Is it, am I still screen sharing? Yeah. Here. So where would be the helper? Where would be the right place now? Now you know it. You just apply everything you have learned. I pick a nice color.
The helper would be, would that be, I don't know, would that be destiny? Can't remember.
You mean here? You mean here somewhere?
No, it wouldn't be a partner. Oh.
Because pink is destiny.
Okay, pink is destiny. All right.
Think about it. Who came first in this family system and who came last when you're helping?
Well, I was a friend. I don't know if I was a real helper. They were both coming to me, talking to me about it.
Well, as a friend, you're not part of the family system, but as a helper, you are.
Okay. I'm not sure I did help. I was listening to both, and that was all I could do.
That is the right place for the helper. The helper comes last. Yeah? For the family system, the helper is the last one who's entering the family system.
Okay.
So he cannot be anywhere else in the whole family tree than at the last spot.
Right.
Yeah. That's the right place for the helper. Anyhow, we talk about that another module and extend, but just to visualize that for you. Yeah. You cannot put yourself anywhere there.
Yeah.
And from this point of view, you also already see what you're doing. You are you in the position to give? Like,
no.
Is this, no, because the order of love is, here's the stream of love, if you want. Yeah. That's our stream of love. Goes that way. Yeah. So in order to give, you must place yourself somewhere here, right?
Yes.
But that's not the order because you came last, right?
Yeah.
So just by looking at this picture, you know already you as a helper are not giving anything.
Yeah.
Right? You're not giving advice to start with. Yeah? Or anything else. You're not giving anything. Right? So we are back here where we belong. What are we doing here when we are not giving?
We're receiving. Right?
Kind of. There's a third thing that we do.
Acknowledging.
Acknowledging. Yeah.
I'm looking for another word.
Bringing something new.
Taking.
What did you say?
Taking.
No, I'm looking for another word.
Loving.
That's always good. Okay, I give it away, okay, shall I?
Yeah.
We are serving.
Serving.
Yeah, that's the only rightful place for the helper in a family system, is to serve the whole system. That's all.
So
it's a very humble place. It's the last one. You know, the servant is the last one in a household.
so
And
doing what's asked and maybe being paid.
no, not doing what's asked. No, no, no. Hang on. We are not serving me. Sorry, I should put it here probably, not there. Okay, let's correct it. Yeah? To be really precise. We are not, because this is a client, yes, but we are serving from here the whole system. We are not serving the client. The client comes to us because the family system sends him. He is a delegate. Yeah?
So
He's
it's
a
different
delegate.
from advantage, disadvantage. It's nothing
Yeah,
to do with that,
nothing
right?
to do with that. No. As a helper, you never get entangled in a family system.
Okay.
So why we are talking here about it is because we are talking about who comes first, which also means to know who comes last. And this is you. As a helper, you come last. However, being last is the best place to serve. All right? And that's the only place and the only thing you can do is serving the whole family system. Not just the client, not just me. Remember, the system, the morphogenetic field is sending the client to you. So you look with the client at the system and find the imbalance and heal it. Help heal it. Right? With your knowledge and with your wisdom and with you being nobody. No intention, no concepts, no wish for the client. You have, no. Often, now we're a little bit sidetracked, but I think it's important to point it out all the time. Often the client comes and wants something from you, right? They want something. And then they sit there with you. And when you're connected with the family system and you're emptying yourself from any kind of preconceptions and intentions and anything, then you feel something else is coming up, something completely different. Sometimes even the client wants something, sits on the hot chair and something else comes up. Did you not experience that in the workshop? All of a sudden you talk about something completely different.
Yes.
Right? And that is when you feel, that is when we are all taken into service from the family system, including and especially the helper. And so we have to take it from there, only from there. Okay, good. Glad we talked about that. So that is another form of belonging that I didn't talk about yesterday because it wasn't time, because we had to go through the rightful places first. But now we know where the right place is. It's going, who comes first, who comes last is last. And there's another form of belonging, which is not entanglement, which is not, it's neither green, nor red, nor blue, nor pink. It is black, and it is called belonging by intention. The intent to help and serve the family system. And this is only for a brief time, because the time it takes to help it. And we will talk about all this in the orders of helping. I think it's module 3, the aspects of constellating, a family constellation and all that. But just briefly to say that you immediately forget everything once it's done. You know that you have left the family system and you were in your rightful place as a servant when you don't know it and you don't care. And you don't know it anymore. You know? It's like if you literally look at a servant, like in older times, let's say cleaning the shoes of the master or serving a plate to the table, right? He wouldn't think about it 2 hours later. there's other things to do. You know, the shoes have been cleaned, dinner has been served, so that's done. You know, now something else to think about. That is the rightful place of the servant. So when you're a helper, you are that. You're in service. Only for what you've been asked, and it's not up to you, you know, whatever result it takes, whatever form the result takes, is completely in the morphic field. Hmm? Okay, so the next order, we spend the next the rest of our session today, the next 40 hours, is something quite different. The orders of, hang on, I have to swap that again. The order in organizations. Now, any one of you had already constellated or worked with an organization?
I already been part of some constellations of organizations. They're
Mm-hmm.
very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit hard to understand, but
Yeah. So I will talk you through what Bert Hellinger says about the orders of organization. It's a little, it has a certain twist. It's not completely the same as in families. So if you look at an organization, and we are looking more like a large organization, like a hospital or like a plant where some products are produced or something, you know, with lots of people involved. Let's call that the organization. There's always somebody who came first, which is the founder, right? Obviously, somebody has to have started it. So the founder would be the one who comes first all the time because he was or she was first, right? And then after the founder, there comes not the important people like in a clinic would be the doctors, and in a shoe fabric there would be the people who are doing the shoes, or in an what am I saying, in a research facility that wouldn't be the scientist. No, the second important people which are securing the system is the administration, actually. And that is often overlooked, the importance of the administration. So the administration stands at the right side of the founder. No, sorry, at the left side. The founder is on the right side, and then there's the administration right next to him. Because the administration is securing the whole organization, right? And then after the administration, there comes the actual work that has to be done. And then there are departments, and in the departments there's also another order then. So for example, if you have a department, not the one comes first who has the most experience or the most education or degrees, for example. In a department, the one comes first who actually was there first. It's like the birth order. The oldest employee is the one who comes first in a department, not in the whole structure, but in the department, right? So that's really interesting because it's quite a bit different to a family system. And if you want to do counseling or coaching for companies, organizations, CEOs, anything in this, or public institutions, or in Germany, it's very common, you know. Politic guys are seeking advice from family constellation about, you know, it's really very common to do that. Organization, systemic coaching for organizations. But the order is different. So what else do we have? We have the founder, we have the administration, we have the, how do we call that? The actual work, the specialty department or whatnot. Then we have other departments that are serving these, like the kitchen, the canteen, the cleaners, you know, garage, all this. They come after that. And whenever you have a group of people working at the same things, you have what I call a department. So then you have to look in the order of this specifically, and there is the order of the eldest. So who was there the longest comes first in the department. So what is if now there is a department and there is a new guy, the boss, who is coming from outside, so who is younger and hasn't belonged to the organization for long, but he is actually the boss for the department for others who has been there longer. What would you think? What happens there? What would be the right order?
You probably have to ask advice for the oldest one. How things were before he arrived. No?
You would probably not want to do that because you probably have a higher education and you probably don't want to give him the idea that he can tell you what to do. It's tricky. It's probably not the first thing you want to do.
You want to thank them?
That's a good thing. Thank them to be part of it. Yeah, that's a very good step. Don't forget about it. We talk about that with the 3 words, the next module. But thanking is dividing. But when you come new, you want to connect. Yeah?
Oh,
That's
so
different.
thank you is when you're separating. Is that what you mean? As you're
Yes.
leaving, you thank.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you want to say something, it would be rather a please than a thank you. And you would actually physically do that. You would come in and you would ask, like if you have to gather information, you would ask probably the oldest there, can you please give me this file or this information or the structure, paper or whatnot. You would use this word often because that's your place, right? So if you look at the family tree we were just drawn, and we were drawing the black line and the black cross, that's actually the guy who comes in late, like a helper. He has maybe more experience or more degrees or whatever, but he is physically last entering the system. So he has to put himself down there. That doesn't mean that he cannot lead, but he lead like a helper who leads a family constellation or facilitates it. The one comes in this organization and leads as a servant. He's serving the organization. He has to have the attitude of serving. And then he will be great. He will be great boss. You know. So when you do a constellation for an organization, and we can actually do that on the board. We could actually make a little experiment here. Anybody has connection with that? Anybody can put up a case? Yes, Ale? Ale?
Yes, for me, feels really interesting. I also would like to constellate at my work.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is the consulate, right?
Yeah. Well, we have, and also I was wondering a lot of questions around my mind, such as in my case, because the embassy is an organization coming from the government, and who is the funder in this case?
Yeah.
Well, who is taking the place? I imagine it's the ambassador now, but I don't know.
No, it's a country. The country.
Well,
Argentina.
yeah,
Argentina.
Yeah.
So let's take it. Shall we do that? Are you in with that? Shall we look at the embassy of Argentina in Wellington? Yeah?
Yes.
Shall we do that as an organization? That's fun. Let's do it. Okay. Okay. Right. So we start new. I put these figures away. Somewhere. Okay, right. So, Ale, let's start. Who is representing Argentina?
Should I pick any figurine?
Yeah.
Okay, and I want the pink.
The mother.
Yeah.
Good.
Love.
Of course, the mother's love.
Mhm.
That's appropriate, yeah. And then who comes next? The ambassador?
Yeah. Well, he is the person who represents us here. Yeah.
Yep. So who is that?
The yellow?
That one?
Yes.
Okay. And who comes then? The consulate?
The minister?
Minister?
We have the second, the second authority. Yeah, minister. Should be the orange, the mid, or this one. Yeah.
Or this?
Yeah. Then you choose the first one. You choose. Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
And then?
And then we have two more persons coming in, a similar place. They are a couple. One is the consul and her husband. And
who's working there? Is it both?
Yeah, both of them. Yeah.
Both of them working.
Yeah, they are a couple, and they are coming in a similar order, in general.
So we take them both.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The red one is and the orange is the consul, and we have an administration boss.
Yep.
Who is Anna? Well, the blue, I don't know if blue, yeah. And the rest of us are local employees.
How many?
We are 5 more.
5 more. Is there a certain order?
Well, I would say the personal assistant to the ambassador.
Yep. Who's that?
The green, the second green, yeah.
And this is the ambassador. No, that's Argentina.
No,
that's
ambassador. Yeah, ambassador.
That's the ambassador. Yeah. So we put him to the side. Yeah.
And then we have an administration employee, and actually he's the oldest at the embassy.
Okay.
More time he spent there. And then we are 3 in my team with me.
Yeah.
I am a consular officer.
Yeah.
Should be the small red.
Yep.
And then 2 more people in my team.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and this is is he the boss of your team?
The boss of my team should be the orange next to the red. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this is the consul, and her husband is next to her. Yeah.
So I don't know exactly where to put them. Let's put them in front.
Okay. Well, I will try to explain a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, Argentina is the pink. Second is coming the ambassador, his personal assistant next to him, and then the minister is the second authority after the ambassador, and then the red one is like I don't know how I can explain. The commercial boss, let's say, the commercial boss, and his wife is the consul, who is my boss. And then we have the administration section, which is the blue. Yeah, the blue one, who is, Anna, and the administration employee. And actually, he is the oldest at the embassy now.
So that is the administration?
Yeah, administration section. Yeah.
Is that a person or is that a department?
Well, both of them are a department.
Well, you said he's a person. He's the oldest, the green.
Yeah,
And this blue,
yeah,
is that a
and the blue,
person?
yeah, this is the boss. In order to say this is the boss, but the employee, it's the oldest in
Yeah.
is the oldest at the embassy at this
Okay,
time.
good.
Yeah.
So now we
And
place.
then,
yeah. Okay.
and then we are three of us. Who is, well, me, I am, well, consular officer. We are three consular officers.
You are this.
Yeah, the red. I am the oldest on my section as well.
Yeah.
And then they are, two more in my team.
Okay, cool. So now obviously we don't have enough real persons to represent all these figures. We don't need to. So we can tackle it in two ways. You can either let us know how you would place them from your perspective. So it's your constellation, you know, and then you need us to let us know what is your issue, what you know, why would you constellate this? Or we make it a demonstration and we put it in the right order from all we know now, what would be the right order in an organization. What would you prefer, everybody?
Yeah, I would like to see what is the right order.
Okay, right. So we will all together find the right order here in this on the board, and then we might actually go into the field and feel into it, like if that how that feels, right?
Okay, great.
So we're starting here. This is Argentina. Where is Argentina?
Should I put maybe in front of all?
Like
here?
Yeah,
it could be. Yeah.
Where's she looking?
Yes.
Where's Argentina?
And she's looking in front of them.
Towards them.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
And then we have the consulate. No, the ambassador.
The ambassador. Yeah.
Ambassador.
The ambassador. Yeah.
Is he living in Wellington?
Yes.
Okay. Where's he going?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe.
Anybody?
Well, I don't know. I'm just guessing, but an ambassador is sent away of the country in representation of the country, right? So they were a very close connection, but yet physically away.
Away from the country, okay, close connected. Who is securing? Ask yourself the question, who is securing the organization? This is the one who comes first after Argentina. Who is the founder, so to speak?
The founder, okay.
Who is securing the organization? Who's making sure that the organization is working?
I feel the administration section.
Exactly. So that will be this here.
No, it was the green and the blue.
Together. Here we go. So the green and the blue should be next to either Argentina or the ambassador.
Yeah.
What do you think? To the ambassador?
Yeah, at this moment, the ambassador, yeah.
Okay, and then this is a worker.
Yeah, the worker, yeah, and actually he's the oldest, yeah, at the embassy now.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Are there more employees working than him?
At the administration section, just him. And as employee, I am an employee. Well, the consular section are employees, the three of in my team, and the personal assistant is an employee as well.
So the personal assistant is the green one?
Yeah.
To the ambassador?
Yeah.
Okay. So he needs to be probably just
Yeah.
like behind,
Yes.
just
Yes.
like this, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay, so now we have these.
Yeah, this is the minister. Is the second in order. Yeah, after
What is he
ambassador.
doing?
What?
What is he doing?
What is she doing? She is the like a consular, let's say. But
I thought
he's the
that's the
no,
consular.
yeah. But it's like it's in authority, in order to authority.
What they're
She's
physically
the
doing
sec.
in the
She's
embassy.
the second one. She is giving a lot of advice and suggestions to the ambassador all time. She is behind the ambassador all time. Yeah,
She's here.
yeah,
What?
yes,
Okay.
yes. Actually, it looks like similar. Yeah.
Okay. Good. So then we have the your department here. So I'm not sure about
Yeah.
this one. So what's this one doing?
It's the commercial section and commercial and cultural section.
Meaning?
Yeah, and he is working. Yeah, he's working with the minister, I say.
The minister. Who was the minister again?
It was behind the ambassador. The ambassador? Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So he's working for the minister.
Yeah,
So put
exactly.
him next to him. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And then we have this guy. What's he doing?
The consul is my boss.
What's the consul doing?
The consul is behind all the assistance to the Argentinian citizen. The consular section, I will say, is like another department, different, because we are the embassy with consular section inside of that, but it's like another department different.
So when you said something important, I think you said the consulate is for the Argentinian people.
Yeah.
So when the consulate is working for the Argentine people, he's working for Argentina.
Yes. Yes.
So we should put him here.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
And then obviously these three are next to here, or next and behind, or whatever, like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we have one missing position here. Very important in this constellation. Can you feel that? You always in a constellation have to find that what is missing. That is rule number 1. That's your job. Find what is missing. There is missing something. Who can feel it? Who knows what it is?
Yeah, I feel like something is missing, but I don't know what is.
Who knows?
I would guess a bridge in the middle.
I have a guess, because we're talking about, well, New Zealand is missing. This is the of Argentina in New Zealand.
Absolutely. So New Zealand is missing. So who is New Zealand? I think the green here.
Okay, great.
So here's New Zealand.
Yes.
Right? That's it.
Yes.
Now we are complete.
Okay.
Okay, now we kind of tune in. So I would like to have a representative for Argentina.
Yes.
Who wants to do that?
I can do that.
Mariella. I would like to have a representative for New Zealand. Who wants to do that? Kate, New Zealand. I would like to have a representative for the blue one. Daniel?
Me, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then, Ale, you're representing yourself.
Okay.
Or you may representing your boss. That's probably a better challenge. Yeah?
Okay.
Okay, right. Yeah. And I leave you out, Nam Shakti, because, yeah? If you want to stay quiet, that's fine. Okay, right. So now take some deep breaths and connect. Very good. And when you are relaxed, open your eyes, and I would like to ask Argentina, the pink figure, how do you feel?
I feel okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Kate, you're New Zealand. How do you feel?
I feel fine, comfortable.
Yep. Good. What else do we have? Danielle, you were what was the blue figure again?
The administration boss is well.
Administration. Yeah. How do you feel?
I feel there's a heat in my calves, and I looking up. Yeah, like
Looking up.
waiting something to come up from above me, let's say. Yeah.
Ah, yeah. Okay. And what is the feeling that is connected to that? An emotion?
Like, yeah, I do what they ask me to do. Yeah, it's almost like it's nothing bad. It's just
You're waiting.
yeah, I'm serving something that comes above me. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Right. Very good.
Or
And
my
Ali?
feet are
Yeah.
very
Yeah. Okay. Ali?
I am carrying a lot of
Anxiety?
anxiety. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I'm nervous all the time that I try to do my best and the things going really well and a lot of pressure at the same time.
Okay, so you feel next to Argentina, you feel pressured. So what I take from your feedback at the moment is that New Zealand, Argentina, and the administration is in the right place, the right order. But the consulate, is it? The consul?
Consul, yeah.
The consul is not in the right order. Next to Argentina, right? That's the feedback. Pressurized, you feel pressure, right? Okay, so now we see where the right place is. If we take consulate and just place it next to New Zealand. How's that? And obviously we take the helpers with.
So we're not seeing the change.
We're not seeing what you're doing.
Oh, far out. Okay, hang on. So I think it has stopped again. So I will reconnect. Oh, I know what it was. It was a screensaver, maybe. Okay. Maybe the screensaver is throwing us out here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
That's how it looks.
So, okay.
Okay, Ale, feel into this position. What has changed?
Yeah, I feel right for me. I feel like I can breathe properly now. It's like, yeah, feeling quiet, comfortable.
Good.
Yeah.
So just checking in, Argentina, how do you feel?
I feel okay, but I could be feeling better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So something has changed. Something
Yes.
has changed, yeah?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also feeling a little uncomfortable. New Zealand, it's feeling
Yeah.
something in my stomach.
Ah, very good. So this is not the rightful place neither. It's kind of difficult in this organization to find a place for the consulate,
Mm.
right? And this is probably also why the consulate is so unhappy
Mm.
and is playing that out onto the, you know, the employees, because there is no rightful place found, you know, yet. So let's go ahead and find other places, right? So put the consulate. Who was that again? The administration.
Yes.
Next to the administration.
It's her husband, right?
Yes, that feels right.
Feel right for you? Good, good, very good feedback. New Zealand?
Yeah, I feel better too.
Good. And Daniel? Can you unmute
I
yourself?
cannot hear you.
It is
Thank
better
you.
now.
Mhm.
I was feeling headache when it was close to New Zealand. It feels a bit.
Ah, so now how's about your orientation upwards? Like looking up?
Not anymore. I'm looking
Not
more to
anymore?
New Zealand now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So you're looking more towards New Zealand?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. And Ale, the consulate?
Yeah. For me, feel like we are a family
Ah,
or something like that, all together.
yeah.
But we have, you know, like small discussions or something like that. But yeah, I have the feeling that we are all together. It's like we are like a family, you know.
Okay.
Eh,
So, yeah.
I didn't like it so much when you moved the blue one to look to New Zealand. Like that made me quite anxious.
Very good. So I look back here. How's that?
Better.
I would like to go to New Zealand. That's really funny. Like I feel very connected to New Zealand. I'm almost in between New Zealand and the other people. Yeah, yeah. That's where I would like to go, but
How's
that
this
yeah,
for Argentina?
That I'm not sure it's okay. I mean, it's okay. Like he's not dividing them there.
Okay. And and New Zealand? It's all right.
It's fine.
Yeah. Okay. So what happens if this happens? How's that?
Yeah, it's not as good. It's not terrible, but it's not as good for me.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
And for you, Ale?
Well, I feel like something changed, but not sure exactly what was.
Okay, we do something other. This is a consulate. We
Yeah.
replace the consulate with the administration. Oops. Put the
Yeah.
consulate here
Yeah.
and all the helpers.
Yes.
How's that?
That feels good for me.
For
Yeah.
Argentina. And for New Zealand?
It doesn't feel good. It feels too far away.
And
This,
how about if we put, well, it's just testing, no? Or I don't know,
yeah,
because the confusion probably is because all the diplomatics are coming to New Zealand just up to a specific period of time, you know, while the employees are living here in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, how about putting the employees close to New Zealand?
These three.
Yeah, 3 plus the personal assistant, who is the small. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, yeah, they are diplomatic persons and they are coming just for a specific period of time.
So let's see, Kate, how do you feel?
That feels better.
Mariella?
Yeah, I think it feels better. It feels different, but possibly better. Not
And
sure.
Tanya?
Not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So, and Ale, how's this for this person?
Well, feel like it's right, but yeah, something is right, but
What's but? What's but?
yeah, it's the right place.
But is what you said, but?
Yeah.
What is but?
But no.
So
Feel
is it
like, yeah, it's the right place. Just I would like to be next to the red figurine.
this one?
Yeah, of course, the husband. Yeah.
Like this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that her husband again?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel a difference in my heart when you moved her there.
Interesting. How was the difference?
Yeah, more comfortable.
Okay.
Better now.
Yeah. For me, feel like complete.
Okay. Mariella?
It feels better. There is still something going on with me. Not sure what it is. It's okay. It's okay.
It's hard to tell, but do you want to face here? Do you want to go closer here?
So are we positive that close to New Zealand are only the employees or are we?
Just feeling. Where is it?
That feels good for me, actually. That feels really good.
There and there.
Yeah.
It felt better before.
Here.
Yeah.
It feels better for me too.
Oh, okay. Interesting. So can we ask now everybody if that feels like you are on the right place, in the right place? Everybody? Yeah, or yes or no?
It feels good to me.
Good.
I want to ask Daniel, how do you feel?
I don't know. I just feel what for. That's the section. Why? Why all these people over there representing and who do we serve for? Are that's my question, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just a role that I get paid for to be here, or is it something that plays a function into something good to someone, or you know?
Mm-hmm.
This is what is missing for me.
That's an interesting aspect. That is very well the question. They are really the administration, the administration is always kind of, you know, away from the people that are serving, like in the background, you know. So they often don't have the contact to the customers, and they may as well the administration, being the second important part of the organization, might not feel like it because they don't have the contact with the customers. They don't get the rewards, you know, they don't get acknowledgement and everything. So what we actually do is we are putting up two people. This is a Argentinian people, yeah, here.
Yeah, yeah.
These are Argentinian people.
Mm.
How's that?
That feels better for me. That helps me.
Yeah. Okay. And Daniel?
Yeah, it's better when these people come up. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the reason why.
Yeah. Kind
Yeah.
of the reason why. Kate?
Mhm.
The same for me, no different.
Okay. And Ali?
Yeah, no difference.
Okay.
Me, yeah, for me, I wish them to be closer to me, you know, like maybe in between, right there
Okay.
in the center. It's almost like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. Now,
yeah,
now I finally feel better.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's like they are the reach or the reason we have the embassy on the other side. The
Here we
people.
go. Here we go. Ali?
Yeah, yeah.
Kate?
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. That's the order in the embassy.
Great.
So
I
you
didn't
just
expect it something like that.
take a screenshot.
Yeah.
Take a screenshot on your device,
Yes, 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 yes.
and then you can look at it and bear this order in mind when you go to work.
Yes.
Just look at the people as if they would stand in this order. That's the healing process. You know, you see already what is as if it would be healed. You know, as a healer, you do that. As a healer, you don't see the imperfection, you see the perfection,
yeah.
right?
The funny thing about this constellation is the employees and the old administration person, Green, they are closer to Argentina than the diplomats, the ambassadors, the I don't know,
Yeah.
and the administration as well, isn't it?
No, but
Interesting.
they have Argentina in their hearts. That's why we trust them with going. They can go anywhere and represent Argentina. They are with Argentina, but at a distance, a physical distance.
I see. Yeah.
Good, awesome. So that we are coming to the end of part 2 of our module 1. We have gone through all the material I wanted to share with you. We had done some practical work. We looked at some interesting cases, and I hope that it is kind of sinking in with this better. Remember to go through your notes and make it personal, and write down what you remember, what you want to remember, and prepare for tomorrow by going on a long walk, or whatever you want to do to refresh yourself. And if you have questions about today, write that down. We talk about that tomorrow at the beginning of the part 3. Okay? Good?
Okay.
Ooh.
Good.
Okay, so I wish you good night and a good morning to Nam Shakti.
Yes, good morning. I'm going to sleep now.
Yeah, good night too. That's
Good
good.
night.
Okay, everybody
Bye.
sleep well. Bye.
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 Bye.